Well, although we are not racing this weekend, just like any week where Formula One is not racing, there are a bunch of major stories and are interesting stories that happen to get broke. And we've already here talked about the possibilities or what seem to be rumored chat of Fred Vasseur possibly being replaced and being replaced by that of Christian Horner. And we also spoke, or at least I spoke and said that that would be a big mistake. It would be a big mistake. Now, I just got to ask you, Galactus, what's going on? Arthreezy, what's going on? There's a difference. And Ferrari is about to make what I call a knee jerk move. Ferrari is about to make such a move that can kind of be cowboyish. And I've made the comp of the cowboy NFL team several times when it comes to Ferrari. They do need help. Ferrari does indeed need help. I'm just not sure they need this kind of help. I'm not sure that Ferrari need Christian Horner's help. And then what I would ask Ferrari is, what have you seen from Christian Horner that would lead you to believe that he is going to be able to bring to you what happened at Red Bull? I understand a lot of people are talking about Christian Horner and his accomplishments while in the team of Red Bull and what Red Bull achieved under his helm and his legions. But I just have to ask you, that was there, this is now, and what will they do going forward? Because from my knowledge, unless you can tell me different, I do not know Christian Horner to have done this before. I don't know where you can tell and point me in the direction where I can say, okay, Christian Horner was successful with this Formula One team. Red Bull acquired him, and then he replicated that success in Red Bull. And now that Ferrari wants him, you could be reassured that he is almost surely to bring you some type of sheer pace performance and success. See, this is the difference that I bring up when I talk about LeBron versus Jordan. Not even getting into the GOAT situation because they could be the GOATs of their era. But this is what I do know about LeBron that you can't debate about Jordan. Can you debate 6 rings to 4? Sure, you can debate that. You could also bring into debate that Jordan was getting his ass kicked before he got the team around him to get those 6 rings. Just like Christian Horner, which I'm going to get to. But what you can't debate is this. Jordan never replicated that success anywhere else than the Chicago Bulls, which happened to be a red team as well. LeBron has replicated that success with 3 different teams, 3 different areas of the United States of America, and with 3 different sets of players on a team. So I can say where LeBron goes, success will follow to some degree or to the greatest degree. When Jordan left the Bulls, went to the Wizards, it was not great. Most people did not like playing with him, which is another comp for Christian Horner. So why is it that Ferrari think bringing in somebody like Christian Horner, which could bring in a toxicity level to your team that could be detrimental, that indeed could cause you to regress? There's a lot of baggage that comes with Christian Horner, and we could talk about that. You just not long ago gloated glowingly about Fred Vasseur and his new contract, of how Fred Vasseur was assured, and you had the utmost confidence and respect that you have the man for the job. Not had, you have the man for the job. You put on Ferrari's website, many outlets reported about it. Fred Vasseur was happy about it. Ferrari, you told us that this was the man going forward. He had proven to you to have the tools and the necessities to make everything happen. What was my point about Fred Vasseur when he was with Ferrari? I told you all, you cannot give Fred Vasseur gas station ingredients and then ask him to make a Chef Ramsay beef Wellington. It doesn't work. He needs to shop with one of the best butchers in the area. He needs to have ingredients that of above Whole Foods if you want him to make a good beef Wellington. Ferrari, if you want Fred Vasseur to be successful, you need to provide him successful components, which you have not. What you've shown us is your inability to change, your inability to look in the mirror and take self-criticism, your inability to look behind you and realize that right there is not the future, that is the past. We need to see what are we going to do to move forward and run into success going that way. Nasty Stu in the Super Chat says, I wouldn't mind him being there. He will listen to Hamilton. Management will listen to him. Okay, Nasty Stu, I'm glad you brought this up. Are you sure? Nasty Stu, are you sure that Christian Horner is going to listen to Lewis Hamilton? This is a guy who, when Lewis Hamilton was being presented on the podium, was sitting back in a trailer. You can go back on Drive to Survive and watch it. And basically said he needs to shut the F up. Christian Horner said that about Lewis Hamilton. So are you positive that Christian Horner, who has said many other degrading things about Lewis Hamilton, do you not recall Christian Horner made joke of riding his horse, wishing it was Lewis Hamilton that he was riding on? Are you positive that Christian Horner is going to constructively listen to Lewis Hamilton, giving everything that you can go back and think of that Christian Horner has said about Lewis Hamilton outside of racing critiques? Christian Horner has said personal things about Lewis Hamilton. Are you sure the man who incited a racial outburst towards Lewis Hamilton post the 2021 Silverstone collision, which, by the way, was largely on behalf of Max Verstappen, is going to listen to Lewis Hamilton? And more so, are you sure Lewis Hamilton wants to work with Christian Horner? Did not Christian Horner just reach a multi-million-dollar settlement due to his Mr. Grabby Hands and Happy in the Pan situation, text messages, all from WhatsApp showing that, hey, I know I got a Spice Girl, but I also want this girl. Are you sure? I just got to ask you, man, are you positive about that, Nasty Stu? Are you positive that management will listen to Christian Horner? Are you positive that Ferrari, who has already shown us that their noses can be so far pointed in the air that Santa Claus and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer may mistake it for the North Pole? Their nose held so high into the atmosphere that what they shed can't be smelled because of the wind that high in the elevation. Are you positive? Are you positive that Ferrari will even listen to Christian Horner, feeling that we helped you? We grabbed you out of the trash can. You just need to do what we need you to do, but you don't need to tell us what we need to do. Are you sure? It's different when you're on the same team. He will fight for his driver. I will 100,000% give you that. I will 100,000% give you that point, Nasty Stu. And because I give you that point is because I've made that point. One thing that we can undoubtedly, with sure agreement, say, Christian Horner will go to bat for you. But remember what I also said. He's the guy you want with you when he's with you, but he's not the guy you want with you when you have to turn your back. because there may be a sharp knife headed that way between your trap and your lower trap. But you are absolutely correct. I do agree with you. Christian Horner will fight in ways that we haven't seen Ferrari fight for their drivers. Christian Horner will bring a Barrett 50 cal rifle to a pocket knife fight. We do know that. I agree with you on that. And that is something that they do need. That is a quality, compartmentalized, that I can say Ferrari definitely need that. But what about all the other stuff? What about all the other stuff? How does this impact Lewis Hamilton's psyche of a driver knowing what Christian Horner represents, not only in life, but in the paddock, but also being attached to one of the largest scandals in Formula One history of Lewis Hamilton being cheated out of his 8th World Driving Championship title while Christian Horner was on that boat with Massey, with Helmut Marko, with Wheatley. How does that bring about, even though we're on the same team, can I dismiss everything that you were a part of? Can I dismiss listening to you on the radio coerce a racing director to break the rules just so your driver could be gifted a championship from which in that race he completely did not earn? Can I separate that and work with you to get my 8th world title after you already helped cheat me out of it before? That is a big question. Personal character matters in a working relationship. I'm going to tell you right now, I was in a corporate environment where I had somebody that was clearly unhappy about my success and my promotion that led me to eventually say that guy is going to be my boss one day. That this younger guy, in which I've been in this company for 30 years, has managed to work his way from a tech to a pretty much individual before even being supervisor or managerial level, allowed to sign off on multi-hundred and $1,000 contracts based off his ideas. I don't like it. And you know what this person did? What this person did was they made up a completely fictitious story of me threatening them, of me trying to run them over, while no police report filed, no police called. You said I had the wrong car. I don't own that car. You said I had these clothes on. They have me on camera not in those type of clothes. You utterly lied to the company in efforts to get me fired. And while they put you on probation, they allowed you to come back. And I will tell you this, back then at that point in time, I never trusted him. I never turned my back on him. And I never would have to speak or be in a room with him without somebody else in attendance. That way, if I punched him in the face for doing something physical, there would be somebody there to say, you know what? Jay was in the right for what he did. You can't trust somebody like that. So maybe, I'm not saying 100% that it won't work, because I will also say this. What is Lewis Hamilton willing to deal with in order to be successful if there is a hope that he can be successful? A lot of things hinge off of one word: tolerance. What can you tolerate? Your relationship, your marriage hinges off tolerance. Your ability to go in, out, clock in, clock out, wherever that is, hinges off tolerance. Your employer, our business partners, our board of directors, having and accepting you and not voting you or firing you, hinges on tolerance. Once you cannot tolerate something, you then will find a way out or you will find a way through. But either way it goes, it will not be to remain there. So, can Lewis Hamilton tolerate working with Christian Horner? Can Lewis Hamilton tolerate the ways that Christian Horner will go to bat for his drivers, even if it is unethical? Can Lewis Hamilton tolerate his name being attached to somebody that will do unethical things in the name of what's better for you and the team, Hamilton? I'm doing this for you. Yeah, I know it ain't all the way right. You remember when you got that penalty for the wing tolerance after Max Verstappen handled your car, and then Christian Horner worked with the FIA to develop a standardized test in order to determine if another competitor's car was within spec? Can I tolerate knowing that you knew your driver at that time tampered with my car, and then you went and developed a standardized test to test my car that was tampered with that then got me penalized? Can I tolerate working with you after knowing that? Can I tolerate knowing that you might do some underhand things just for what you call the greater good of the team, and that's not my type of character? Can Lewis Hamilton tolerate that? That's an even better question. Because to some people, your integrity and your character are worth more than money. Some people may have done something that was unethical and reaped a benefit from that, and then gave that benefit back because they couldn't sleep at night knowing that they did something so unethical that may have negatively impacted another person or an organization. I can't sleep that way. I got to give this back. I got to find some way to make it right. That's Lewis Hamilton. So how many nights can he sleep knowing that he is working with a guy who is utterly and has been proven to be a damn snake? How can Lewis Hamilton say to himself, I support F1 Academy. I support women in motorsports. I support women regardless of what industry they're in. Platonically, I support these women. How then can I go talk to these women after working with somebody who has disrespected women? Can he tolerate that? Can he be a part of that? I would say that's going to be a hard task. It's going to be hard for me to sit in this meeting with these headphones on and listen to a voice that I know is quite frankly full of shit most times. I know he's doing it for the team. I know he's good at it. I know he's going to go up there and protest. I know he's going to say the things in front of the media. But is this not the same guy that also helped shit on Perez? That's the same guy. This is the same guy that while he had two drivers, he literally on the radio said to his other driver, Max Verstappen, that the other guy just got lucky. They're on the same team. So in order for you to make Max Verstappen feel good, you had to go and poop on Sergio Perez's success in the race by saying he just got lucky. Doesn't that reflect on you as a team? Does that mean that the team just gets lucky? But you were willing to say that to Max in order to fluff him up. That's similar to why young Dolph didn't want to work with Yo Gotti. He didn't want to work with Yo Gotti. And Yo Gotti's a buster. Yo Gotti's a hater. And Yo Gotti brings young Dolph in and he says, hey, Dolph, I need everybody else to step out except for Dolph. Listen, man, I want you over here at CMG. You ain't like the rest of them. You got your stuff together. I ain't got to hold your hand. I ain't got to hold your hand like I got to hold so-and-so. And you know what Dolph thought? And you know what Dolph said? Dolph said right there and then he knew he couldn't work with Yo Gotti because if you would disrespect somebody you've had a long-term relationship with and they're on your team to just get me who's not on your team in front of me, that's not somebody I want to work with. Nasty Stu in the Super Chat says, total integrity isn't any better. I agree with you. I agree with you. We found that out. I agree with you on that. Look at what happened when he announced he was going to Ferrari. Look at how Toto was treating George to get Max. I agree, Nasty Stu, 100%. But I will ask you this now. Then why? I agree with you. We found out that Toto's integrity was actually crap. We found out that Toto may indeed been a snake in very tall grass. So now I would ask you, why then, if we found out Toto was the snake when many things unfolded, we didn't know. We didn't know that Toto was that. We thought that things were harmonious. We thought that Toto was a solid individual outside of being a team principal. We thought that Toto valued the relationship that he and Lewis Hamilton had established through many years, days, championships, success, podiums. We thought Toto was that. And then we found out after a debacle of a design in a car that Toto started showing us his true colors. So why now, after going through that experience, would we then turn to somebody who we know is a snake, who we know what you've done, who we know how you are, and we know how you treated this driver, say, for the betterment of the team? Come on in, Horner. Come on. Are you then now going to clearly see that you will invite a snake into your house versus you invited somebody, a wolf in sheep's clothing in, and then found out they're a wolf and you got them out? You're going to then turn around and say, hey, come on in, man. I know you're a wolf. That's like the frog and the snake story. The frog knows a snake's tendencies. And the snake says to the frog, can you help me get across this river? Can you let me ride on your back to get across the river and help me? And the frog says, no. You're a snake. You're going to bite me. And you know what the snake says? The snake says to the frog, why would I bite you in the middle of that river? Because then we'll both die. I know I'm a snake. And yes, you know my tendencies is to bite you with a venomous bite. But I won't do that because then I'd be risking my own life. So the frog says to himself, kind of like Nasty Stu just has, you know what? You got a good point. That's one situation that you probably won't bite me in. So the frog tells the snake, hop on my back. They set off into the river, and you know what happens? Bow, the snake bites him. And the frog looks and says, why did you do that? And the snake says, that's who I am. That's who he is. And you know this. The frog knew this. And still, because of slick, cunning words, he bought into something he knew he should not have bought into. And it cost him his life, and the snake disregarded its own life, unable to control itself from tendencies that it is made of. Just saying, brother. Just saying. And I just have to ask this as we go into this part. What all is Christian Horner supposed to fix? What all is he supposed to fix? Let's talk about brakes, right? Because we know the braking issue, components right now is a big thing with Ferrari and especially Lewis Hamilton. We know of Lewis Hamilton's experience at Mercedes with going through a combination of Brembo and ending up with Carbon Industries as a solution. What is Christian Horner supposed to solve about that? Because what we know at Red Bull is they had to use asymmetric braking in order to be successful. And what happened after the technical directive got implemented about asymmetric braking? Red Bull's pace and performance fell off. So what is Christian Horner supposed to come in and say to Ferrari that will be just so enticing that Ferrari says, Christian, you know what? We are going to dump this contract with Brembro. We're going to dump them. We're going to dump them, and we're going to invite a new braking manufacturer in so that we can fix that problem. I mean, bro, you needed asymmetrical braking to have a high-performing car. And you didn't design that. You didn't install that. I'm not even sure you really know how that shit works. What is he supposed to do about that? What is Christian Horner supposed to do about the development of the Ferrari car? I don't know what he's supposed to do about that. I'm not sure he can do anything about that because from what I know, Christian Horner's career at Red Bull almost simultaneously lines up with Adrian Newey's career at Red Bull. And one thing I do know is success followed after Adrian Newey was employed there. It was successful for Sebastian Vettel 4 times back-to-back. It was then successful for Max Verstappen 4 times back-to-back, for a lot of other bullshit that we can go into. So we'll just stick with Vettel because there's a lot of components and ingredients that are mixed in Max Verstappen that put asterisks by his championship. So let's just stick with Vettel. With the Renault engine, which we know is not always the best, Adrian Newey designed a car that was highly competitive and won championships at the controls of a driver who was capable of extracting the performance out of that car. Christian Horner is not bringing Adrian Newey with him to Ferrari. Adrian Newey's at Aston Martin. Now, had Adrian Newey decided to work with Ferrari, well, shit, we got a good 2 components of the gang back that are the reasons why Red Bull is successful. We got the team principal who will stab you in your back, shoot you in your foot at a knife fight, and we got Adrian Newey who will design a rocket ship around the components that we give him or he requests. Adrian Newey's not going with Christian Horner to Ferrari. Matter of fact, Adrian Newey decided not to go to Ferrari. As a matter of fact, I think Adrian Newey made the price so high with Ferrari, hoping that they probably would turn it down. Adrian Newey probably knew they won't listen. I'm a temperamental guy. I'm not a loud guy. I'm not a rambunctious guy. I'm not a guy that's going to stand up in the meetings and yell, yell, yell. And Ferrari, that's what it might take to get them to listen. I don't feel like doing that shit at this point in time in my career. I don't feel like having to always fight in a meeting about changes that I know better than you that will impact our performance positively. I don't feel like having to go to Maranello all the damn time when you feel you want to question my knowledge and acumen for engineering and designing an aerodynamically efficient car. I don't feel like dealing with that. I know that's what y'all like to do at Ferrari. Y'all like to have these big meetings all of a sudden in the middle of the night and try to decide on things that are going to make an organization this damn big run seamlessly, but thus far it hasn't worked for you. And they just came off having one of those meetings, possibly about this leadership change. So Christian Horner, what is he supposed to bring to Ferrari that we should say, this is the reason why I can see the future of Ferrari going into a new large era of regulations will be successful? Will be successful. Because if I look back at Christian Horner, there were other components that were associated with you in business that you were successful with in business. So outside of your lawsuit, outside of your settlement, outside of the nasty things you said or done, outside of the underhand tactics you've used, let me just look at the scope of business and say, what do you have with you that will bring good business to Ferrari? You don't have Adrian Newey. Scratch that off. You don't design cars or braking systems or aerodynamic pieces. Scratch that off. As a matter of fact, business is a part of image. And do we as Ferrari need the image of Christian Horner being molded and melded into what we already are killing ourselves? That's business. That's money. Do we want some programs that would invest or want to partner with Ferrari on the Formula One grid to say, we got a pretty good diversity program and we got a pretty good, equal rights program. We got a pretty good human rights program. And, your guy doesn't necessarily match up for our, he doesn't meet our mantra. He doesn't really line up with our motto. So I think we're going to not invest in Ferrari, or you know what? We're going to pull out of Ferrari. That's not really something we want to do. That's not what we want to do. That's business. So if we just keeping it all the way business, then I ask you, what is Christian Horner coming with that allowed or enabled him to do good business at Red Bull Racing, which led to championships? What is he coming with to Ferrari that we can say that's going to bring good business and championships? What is he bringing with him? I mean, I hope you're not bringing some undisclosed documents from Red Bull that's going to get us in trouble, much like I believe it was McLaren at some point in time with Alonso when there was some type of shift about, did you copy or is there something that you viewed that may have been IP of another team and you based your design off of that? We don't need that. We don't need that. Nasty Sue, in the scope of business, the drivers' championship is an ego thing for drivers. True. They only care about the constructors. Okay, Nasty Stu, so in the scope of business, the drivers' championship is an ego thing for the, man. I'm partly with you. Let's say this. I'm not fully on board with just saying the drivers' championship is an ego thing for drivers. That's not all the way true. While it may be very flourishing for your ego, it's not largely your ego that's going to get you a drivers' championship. Because we've seen some guys with pretty big egos unable to really drive to the brink where they need a championship. Winning a drivers' championship is not just an ego thing. Winning a driver's championship gives a driver the acknowledgement that they had the ability, they have the talent, they have the know-how and the racecraft to do the things that this machine the team built was allowed to do. As a driver, I have the tools in my bag to set myself apart from the rest while they may have equaling tools to win above them. It's more than just ego, Nasty Stu, for sure. I think you might agree with this. This is more than just ego. It's more than bragging rights, brother. It's more than bragging rights. It's proving to other drivers. It's proving to yourself that the time I put in, that the workouts I put in, that the studying I put in, that the repetition for the circuit, that my ability to extract points in a circuit that other drivers might not acknowledge, that gives me the edge. It is more than a bragging point, and I believe it's more than an ego thing. It's me being able to say that all the hard work I put in and that my talent, ability, that my knowledge of learning supersedes within the environment that I am competing in. I think that's more than ego. And yeah, bragging rights come along with it. Ego is part of it, but I think there are other components there that just don't say it's solely just ego. I mean, think about this. Nobody necessarily wants to always hear down the line in the future say, you know what? It was really all the team. You didn't, it was really all the car. You didn't really win that. Because there are some drivers where you can say that. There are some drivers where you say, he really didn't, he really didn't show us that he was necessarily the better driver more than he just had the fastest car. And there are some drivers you could say, even in a competitive car that may not always be the fastest, that guy will find a way to win. He will find settings on the steering wheel. He will find breaking points. He will find areas of the circuit. He will find his way to go into a decreasing or increasing radius turn a lot better than other people. And that's what gives us the edge. His abilities, his skill, his knowledge, his way of learning on the fly that is cutting edge above the other drivers. I think that could be more than just ego and bragging. I think winning that driver's championship awards this person for their ability to do what they did in a car where others may not have been able to do that. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think you might agree with that. I agree with some of what you said there as well, because truth be told, you're absolutely correct. Even though you said they only care about the constructors means more for the team. It does. But driver championships mean I was able to do things others couldn't. I learned more. I applied more. I risked more. My talent is more. My skills are more. My ability to learn and apply are more. And I think that means a lot. So still, Christian Horner, not saying that I can't even say it because that's my integrity and character. I can't say that he's not bad for business because I think Christian Horner is bad for business. Image is business, and doing things that could potentially get a team penalized or fined is business. And although we know Ferrari has escaped being completely ridiculed about something they did back in, 2019, maybe, with the fuel sensors, and being undisclosed to why they were fined such an enormous amount of money, they probably have the cachet to get away with some of these things Christian Horner may do. So maybe for them, bad business is not so impactful at all. We can turn bad business into good business. You could do bad things here at Ferrari, and we have the cachet within Formula One because we feel we are Formula One, that your type of business might work out. Nasty Stu in the super chat. Hey, brother, and good morning to you too, Nasty Stu. I see you up and at him, bro. Nasty Stu up and at him. You might need to be on here with me, bro. He says, I don't disagree, but remember when they asked Toto about protesting the F job on Lewis, and he shrugged his shoulders and said, we are 8-time constructor champion. Yeah, true. But they are that because Hamilton is him. They are that because Hamilton is him. It is. I would ask you all this. I'm going to ask you all this. Do you believe that Valtteri Bottas would have been able to rival Max Verstappen as Lewis Hamilton did in 2021 in the same car? I ask you that. I'll let you all answer. Do any of you believe that Valtteri would have been able to rival Max Verstappen in 2021 in the same car without Lewis Hamilton there? Just wondering. Does anybody think that? Does anybody believe that? Because my answer is no. My answer is no. My answer is purely no. Valtteri would not have been able to do it. And this is why I say this. In 2021, Valtteri was 161 points behind Lewis Hamilton. I know when you look at the board and you see third, he was third, and yes, he was. But he was 161.5 points behind Lewis Hamilton. 161.5 points behind Lewis Hamilton. Valtteri was 169.5 points behind Max Verstappen. So although Toto shrugged his shoulders and said we're 8-time constructor champions, You are that because Lewis Hamilton is him. So, yeah, the constructor's title matters, but you need some drivers to get you there, bro. Toto need drivers to get him there. And he solely said, I need that guy. I know we about to build this car, but if we don't got that guy, we probably peppered here and there. We probably need 8-time World Constructor Championships if we don't get Lewis Hamilton. We're probably not 8-time World Constructor Champions if we don't get Lewis Hamilton. And Lewis Hamilton is likely not a 7-time world champion, driver champion, if we don't build a competitive car. I get it. It all plays off each other. It all plays off each other. And this is absolutely true. But if we're just talking about that and we look and we're trying to say, hey, where are you without Lewis Hamilton? I think it's easily debatable to say not there. Because don't forget, in 2018, Lewis Hamilton won the Drivers' Championship with 408 points. 408 points. Valtteri Bottas was 161 points behind him again. And in between that 161 points was Sebastian Vettel second, Kimi Räikkönen third, Max Verstappen fourth, and Valtteri fifth. So Valtteri still didn't beat Max. He still didn't beat Kimi. He still didn't beat Seb, while he was in the same machine with Mercedes rules that catered to both drivers. What's up, 083? So still I say, didn't have it then. So without Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes, Toto might not be able to do that shrug. Without Lewis Hamilton, Toto might not be able to do that shrug. With Toto having the car, still having Toto and other drivers, Toto might not be able to do that 8-time World Constructors Championship shrug. Even if we go to 2017, Lewis Hamilton, another driving champion, Sebastian Vettel second, Valtteri third. Valtteri still off that. I'm just saying that you're right. I'm saying you're right. Constructor Championship means a lot more to the team, but you might not have those constructor champions if Lewis Hamilton is not him. That's what I'm pointing out right there. So if Ferrari want to make a good decision, and they, you know what, I'll say this, and I don't necessarily wholeheartedly believe it. I will believe and say that they understand Formula One way better than I do. They understand the inner workings of Formula One 100% better than I do. I can wholeheartedly say that. What I can't say is this. Ferrari make very good decisions based off of what your dynamics are, Stu. I think your dynamics of business exceed Ferrari's capability as a team, because I think Ferrari make decisions based off a lot of feelings. I think Ferrari decide to do things based off how the people gonna look at us right now, man. You know, we losing. We sell these cars. We hassle and haggle our customers that buy these multi-million or $100,000 cars, and we tell them they can't do what they want to do with their own car that they pay good money for because it's a Ferrari. Yo, man, I know we just said Fred Vasseur's our guy. I know we just said we completely believe in him. But, man, we got to change this, man. We got to bring somebody else in. How did the last decision that you all did so extravagantly large and extensively do? You went and you changed 90% of a car that was successful in 2024 coming into 2025, and how in the hell is that working? How's that working for Ferrari? How's it working? Because in 2024, you were second in the team's championship to McLaren. To McLaren. And while I don't like the number that McLaren put up to be first in that driver's championship, that 666, if it's not a rap group, I'm kind of like, about it. It was only 14 points off. You were 14 points off for beating the constructor champion of 2024. And then what you went and did is you changed 90% of your car while you beat Red Bull out in the constructor champion. You were only 14 points off of McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. You went and changed 90% of your car, and now you got McLaren and you got Mercedes in front of you. So you got two Mercedes power unit teams in front of you now, Ferrari, and Red Bull is only 8 points off from making you fourth in the Constructors' Championship, while they've changed the number 2 driver twice in this season from Liam Lawson to Yuki Tsunoda. So the team is largely led by one driver. You got 2 cars in here, and you're about to be fourth in the Constructors' Championship because they only got 8 points to get you. And now you got 2 Mercedes power unit cars in front of you. So I would say you made a big mistake. I would say you regressed. I would say that Ferrari, you effed up. So what I would say is take a moment, exhale as I just did, and really think, is Fred honestly our problem? And if after some deductive reasoning, if after some legitimate, constructive learning, if after you review all the information that you absolutely have available to you, you can undoubtedly say Fred Vasseur is actually our problem, then what you need to go is go back through a similar process of deductive reasoning, of understanding, of research, of comparisons, and then ask yourself, is Christian Horner a solution or even at minimum a step up in what he will give our team to give us more performance? If you can't say undoubtedly, yes, Fred is our problem, and yes, Christian Horner is a solution, then what the hell are you doing it for? What the hell are you doing it for? If you have a document, if you have a meeting, if you have video surveillance with audio tape that you can release and say to us, hey, we got a video. We were in this meeting in Maranello, and Fred stood up in front of us, the board, all the higher ups, and he said, we got to change 90% of this car. And not only that, he actually sold us on it. What's up, Buck Dollars Puro? He actually sold us on it, and we believed him. And so because Fred made this glamorous presentation that just completely won us over, that, you know what, Fred's right, we got to change 90% of this car. If you got that videotape, or you got something documented that said Fred is the reason and the catalyst for why we even did that anyway, then yeah, I say get rid of Fred. Because Fred, majority, you the problem. You incited this, you coerced, you convinced them that they needed to do it because you leaned on Fred as somebody who you trusted. If you got that videotape, release it. You got that document, show us. If you got that document and you say, hey, man, listen, I know you don't know Wolfpack, but Fred actually talked us into this whole debacle. We were gonna run forward with the 2024 car with some mild modifications coming in 2025, but Fred assured us that there was a different direction to go in, and that direction was going to not only be more profitable, but it was going to have more performance. It was going to be double P, and that's not what happened. So this is why we're really trying to look for somebody else, because Fred sold us on a bad bag of goods. We turned around and sold the drivers, and that's how we got Lewis Hamilton. We gave Lewis Hamilton the same presentation Fred gave us. The same presentation that Fred Vasseur gave us, which said, hey, go do that, is the same presentation we turned around and gave Lewis Hamilton along with a lot of other stuff. And that's why Lewis said, okay, you made that make sense. Yeah, we made it make sense because Fred made it make sense. And actually, it wasn't true, dog. Fred didn't know. If you got that, then hey, I would say, yeah, you're fully in your rights to look at somewhere else besides Fred. Even if it's Christian Horner, I can understand. I don't completely agree with it, but I can understand. And you know what? Maybe Lewis Hamilton could understand. If Lewis Hamilton knows this, it might be a reason why he say, I don't like Christian Horner. I don't like what he's done, but he going to be a lot better in this position than Fred. And I may be able to set aside to win my 8th world title. I may be able to set aside all the foolishness and degrading things that Christian Horner has done in order to do that. And even so, I might be able to deal with the media backlash that I'll get for having to somewhat align myself, because I ain't going to fully support that jackass. I might even be willing to deal with the media backlash I'm going to get for verbally aligning myself for the team with Ferrari to work with Christian Horner. If this going to give me my shot at getting my 8th world driving championship, I might be able to do it. Just saying. What's up, Mercedes mechanic? But yeah, there's a lot to consider. There's a lot they need to discuss. And I'm just trying to tell you that I've said this several times to you all. Sometimes bad people do things that seem good for selfish reasons. And the truth can also go the other way. Sometimes wholeheartedly good people will have to make decisions that perceptively look bad in order to do great things, right? Martin Luther King talked a group of people into sitting in a restaurant knowing that, I'm telling you, you're going to get beat. They're going to bring the dogs out. They're going to bring the water hoses out, and they're going to hose us down. I'm telling you that I want you, as your leader, I want you to withstand the punishment that is coming. I need you to practice getting beat so that you can stay humble in yourself and not do something that will look angry to derail our campaign. I'm asking you to do something bad. I'm asking you to subject yourself to negative and bad things that are going to come. But what I'm also asking you to do is I'm asking you to do it in order to change the future of people that look like you and I that live in this country. A great man doing things that would necessarily seem bad to others for a greater outcome. That's Lewis Hamilton dynamic in this situation. I would never compare Lewis Hamilton to Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Garvey. I would never do that, because what they've done on a humane level far exceeds Lewis Hamilton. I would not do that. But what I will do is give you the comp that if Lewis Hamilton has to align himself in such a way with somebody you don't like in order to accomplish great things while not subjecting his character to ultimately be changed, I would say give him a break. Because what you can say, for sure, Miss Dino, bless the ancestors all day long. What you can say is, I know in Lewis Hamilton's heart, and I know what he won't do if the time really comes, he's not going to break that line with this guy. There are going to be things, if they ever are done, that this guy may do, Lewis Hamilton will not align himself with. within reason, but not as far as detrimental to everything that he's accomplished. Mechanic Mercedes in the chat says, peace to the fam. Good morning. Before the season, Fred was saying Ferrari should win at least one of the championships. Yeah, he was. I don't know if he's talking that now, bro. I don't know if he's talking about. But hey, I try my best to be optimistic looking forward. So 2026 is an entirely new season. And so therefore, I won't discount the possibilities of change. I won't discount the possibilities of growth. I won't discount the possibilities that a human being has in order to do, among all things that may seem against you, rise above the clouds and let the sun hit your face. I won't discount you to the point to say you can never do that. So 2026 may very well be a successful season for Ferrari at the helm of Fred Vasseur, with Fred Vasseur at the helm. But I also can't say, undoubtedly, that bringing in Christian Horner won't bring you some type of positive change for business of performance on the grid. It pains me to say that, but I got to keep it legit. All right. All right, you all, that is it for the day. Do not forget, we will have Grudge Racing tomorrow. We will have Grudge Racing tomorrow here at Wolfpack Performance. While Formula One is not racing, we will be racing. So if you want to race with us on EA Sports F1 2025, Julius Taylor says, yeah, they might win one at F1 Academy. Damn, bro, that's vicious. As my son says, that's vicious. Damn, man. Yeah. So, yeah, damn, that's vicious. So, yeah, I would say come race with us. If you got a gamer tag that's on EA, be in the live chat. That stream is already posted. You need to be in the live chat 15 to 20 minutes before we start so that if you want to get invited into the race, you can. If we've seen you here before and you've done foolery, I won't. And trust me, I have no problem kicking your ass out the lobby. Don't come here thinking you're going to drive crazy and do crazy things. I will kick you out of the lobby. I will kick you out of the competition. It's my competition. It's the Wolfpack family's competition. And if we don't want you there because you acting like you don't know how to drive and you just coming in there to be aggressively crazy to get a little poke, I will kick you out and you will never come back in. You will have to create so many damn different names to come back in. I'm going to ask you, why do you love me that much? If you do, there's people that actually do that. They create different profile names on YouTube just so they can keep coming here because they love me that much. They love my content. They love our community that much. Hey, if that's the type of energy you want to put out there, I'm like, I done did my damn job. All right, you all, we will see you all then. Peace and love to everybody. Mechanic Mercedes, Miss Dino, Nasty Stu. I appreciate you so much for the dialogue, bro. I appreciate you a lot for that dialogue. It means a lot for you to be that involved, man. So I appreciate you, Nasty Stu. Big shout out to as well 083 popping up in here. Phoenix Black popped up in here. I didn't even see you, brother. My apologies, Phoenix Black. Who else popped up in here that I did not see? Galactus popped in here, R33, Z33, which is just Reezy popped in here. And with that being said, this is Wolfpack Performance. I'm Jay. We signing off. See you tomorrow for the race. We out.